We have now made it to the third part of community ecology. It's a short video. By the time we finish, you should be able to explain the difference between primary and secondary succession, and tell me, what does a pioneer have to do with this section? So far in terms of community ecology, we've talked about three different kinds of relationships: predator-prey, competition, and symbiosis. When we talked about predator-prey, we also mentioned keystone species. Remember, that's a predator that's really important to that ecosystem. If they're removed, the other community members get out of balance and can destroy that ecosystem. Now we're looking at communities over time. Ecological communities are not static, meaning they don't stay the same. We change the number and the type of species throughout time. This process is called ecological succession. We have two types of ecological succession, primary and secondary, and it depends on what the environment started like, and that's the difference between the two. Primary succession happens in a place that nothing has ever lived before. Usually it's just rock, so maybe a lava flow hardened into rock, or a glacier retreated, left rock behind and exposed it. A landslide uncovers rock. Nothing lives in that area because it's rock. A pioneer species comes in. Pioneer, think of the pioneers moving west. They were the first people to go out that way. So a pioneer species is the first group in that area that changes the environment, allowing new species to come in. Usually, when they're living on rock, it's going to be bacteria or lichens. Lichens look kind of like moss. These guys are allowed to live on rock. They have the adaptations that allow them to do so. And things like lichens secrete acid, and so with wind, water, and then their body processes, they help weather the rock or break it down. Weathered rock, if you remember from 7th grade earth science, if you had it with me, weathered rock makes soil. When we have soil, grasses and the other species that can tolerate poor soil conditions move in, they die, nutrients get added to the soil from their bodies. Then the quality of soil gets thicker and increases and is more nutritious and holds more water, which allows bigger species to move into that area. As you can imagine, this takes quite a long time. Secondary succession is a little bit different. Primary occurs where nothing ever lived before. Secondary is where there was a series of species, but there is a disturbance. Fire, flood, human activity, and they wipe out most of that species diversity. So in this case, there's already soil there, and it's already usually pretty good. The pioneer species in secondary succession are a little bit bigger and a little bit hardier because there's already soil there. So grasses, birch trees, fireweed, other things that can grow fast. Organic matter improves the soil when they die. Again, their bodies decompose, that adds nutrition. When the soil improves, other species can move in and then continue through succession. Now what you need to do is just summarize what we talked about with the summary section in your notes. And then the worksheet that's next, LO8, it's one of those where you keep getting it back until you have a perfect score. So do it right the first time, and then you'll have less things to correct later on. There is also an extra credit worksheet in the crate available if you would like the chance to do a little bit of extra credit. It's a vocab matching worksheet. Should be pretty easy. Now that you've seen this video, you should be able to describe the difference between primary and secondary succession and know how the pioneers connect to ecology.